It's not very often you wake up with a 1 in 13 chance of winning $1 million or more, but today, that's the case for us. We're on our way to the win to play day 2 of the WPT $50,000 high roller. On day 1, I bought into the event being as nervous as I could be to play against literally the best players in the world in the highest stakes tournament that I've ever played by 5x. It started out as close to as poorly as possible with the card distribution, but bit by bit, things began to turn around. The big pots started to come our way as the amount of players continued to dwindle. Despite sitting at the same table and battling with every single one of the top 4 people on the all-time money list at one point or another, we somehow found a bag, ending day 1 in the middle of the pack with only 13 left out of 69 entries. First place over $1 million, and the top 9 make the money with the min cash being $108,000. While the hallways at the win are much emptier than they were just a few days ago during the World Championship event, I'm still walking them with the dream of winning a major title and my first 7-figure score very much alive. I don't want to get too ahead of myself before the day begins though. Mixed emotions right now. Feel good to have made it this far, but we still need 30% of the field to bust out before we make the money, and these guys are way more knowledgeable about how to play short stacks and to play in these kind of situations. Just a massive bubble. Here's a list of those still in the hunt. It's big name after big name, including Jason Kuhn, Martin Cabral, Kevin Rabichow, Justin Bonomo, Ren Lin, aka Gaga, Alex Foxen, Seth Davies, and Ike Haxton. Out of the 13 of us, I'm one of only 2 players with less than $1 million on their Hendon mob. 3 separate players of over $40 million. Sure, we only need 4 players to bust before we make the money, but we're going to have to outlast some of the most talented individuals on Earth in order to reach our first objective of the day. We find our bag, we'll be sitting at the same table we sat at last night. There will be one last redraw for seats once we get down to the unofficial final table of 9. Cabral and Jason Kuhn are on our right. Jason's always friendly towards me and doesn't show any discontent about being on the vlog, which admittedly could be annoying with the pressure being high and with a lot of money on the line. The other table is maybe even tougher than ours. I couldn't be any more anxious than I am at the moment as we all prepare to start playing. Cabral is up to his usual antics.
Sleeping well, Brett?
Fuck no, I'm not sleeping well. I'm on the brink of a 6-figure money bubble against the toughest competition that I've ever faced. I'm not about to show any weakness though.
Slept pretty well, yeah.
We've got a little over 900,000 in front of us with blinds at 20,000, 40,000. This wouldn't be a bad time to be card dead and have easy decisions so that we can coast into the money. ICM implications are big, so we don't want to get into a lot of dicey situations in which we're risking our whole stack while we're close to a payout. It's cool to have a plan going into play, but the cards we're dealt lead us in a different direction. Right away we pick up Ace-Jack in the small blind and we 3-bet jam over an open raise from the button. The shove gets through, allowing us to cross over the million mark in chips. There were 3 players who entered the day with 11 big blinds. One of them gets knocked out immediately. He happened to be the only other person with less than $1 million on his Hendon mob that I alluded to earlier. Now, I'm the last David left in a field of Goliaths, but we just need to survive 3 more players getting knocked out. We can probably play it safe to even fold into the money at this point. Instead, we get one more 3-bet shove through with Ace-King suited to continue increasing our stack. A series of interesting hands take place, including an all-in and call that eliminates Kevin Rabichow. We're one of the top 5 or 6 stacks as we manage to pass Jason Kuhn on the leaderboard. Everything's going about as well as possible to start. We've chipped up, while 2 players have busted only 16 minutes into the day. We might make the money way sooner than I expected since there are still a few short stacks that need to make a move if they want to stay in contention. The play slows down with people tanking excessively, so we're forced to begin playing hand for hand. The players to the right and left of me get tangled and all in, with the larger stack getting it in good with Ace-Queen against the short stack's King-Queen. I'm rooting for the big stack to win so that we can get one step closer to the money. The short stack miraculously pairs as king while fading hearts on the turn and river that would have knocked him out. Leon Sturm is all of a sudden left short. Sturm came into the day with 42 big blinds, but now finds himself at risk and drawing stone dead as he gets it in with Ace-King against Jason Kuhn's pocket aces, with the case ace appearing in the window of an Ace-8-3 rainbow flop. The turn and river don't even matter. It's not often you see someone flop top and have 0% equity. All of Sturm's chips are absorbed into Kuhn's growing stack. Sturm just took a few devastating blows, including a bad beat and a cooler that ended his tournament life 2 away from the money, causing him to miss out on a 6 or 7 figure cash. Jason still wants to ensure that he has a happy holiday season.
Hey man, have a good Christmas.
It's so brutal for anyone to get knocked out at this point because we're playing for house money, paid in full. One misstep or unlucky run out could, without exaggeration, cost any player remaining hundreds of thousands of dollars. We all want to make the money and win the tournament, but we still can't help feeling bad for someone who's made it this far that ultimately gets eliminated and leaves empty-handed. There's one more player who will leave with absolutely nothing as we're down to the final 10 players. 90% of us are going to make the money. Who's it going to be who gets knocked out short of a massive payday? I've been the bubble boy before in situations that still sting. I'll have nightmares every night if I bubble this event though. I can't bust out yet. The big stacks know I'm handcuffed and really won't be able to get involved against them. This is when Kuhn really turns the jets on now that he has a pile. He repeatedly 3-bet jams over Cabril's late position raises without any fear. They're two of the largest stacks remaining, and Jason continuously rips it in Martin's face as if he seemingly couldn't care less about making the money. As a fan of the game, it doesn't get better than this right now, having a front row seat to watch arguably the most respected and talented player exert maximum pressure while staying cool as could be with it all on the line. The elite are willing to make the gutsiest moves without letting the amount of money they're playing for stand in the way of them playing optimally. Over and over, Jason's 3-bet shoves get through because Cabrel can't justify risking his enormous stack to call off at this stage in the event. Meanwhile, at the other table, the big names are colliding there as well. Alex Foxen gets it in with King 10 offsuit against Seth Davies' pocket 4s in a blind versus blind hand. Davies has Foxen covered. If 4s hold, we'll make the money. The flop comes Queen 9-7 Rainbow. Pocket 4s still has the lead, but King 10 can hit any King 10 or Jack to stay alive. The turn is the 5 of clubs. It changes nothing except our chances of cashing in the next few seconds goes from 57% up to 77%. We're one card away from $108,000 and all the weight being lifted off of our shoulders. Alex gets the double up while playing perfect GRO strategy. That river will perhaps be the one that has cost me the most money, and I wasn't even involved in the hand. There's another opportunity for a knockout 7 minutes later as Seth Davies now gets it in as the short stack against Bonomo. I scramble to get a look as I see Davies is in the lead with his pocket 8s against Bonomo's pocket 3s. The flop comes Jack 9-7 Rainbow. Davies retains the commanding lead with his higher pocket pair and a gut shot straight draw. We'll need to see a set on the turn in order to make it to the final 9. Damn it. The wrong person makes a set. Bonomo is drawing dead to a chop. The river is an inconsequential queen. Seth Davies gets a double up to prolong the agony. We began with several quick knockouts, but now everyone's holding on for dear life as the stone bubble is dragging on for a long time. My stack has been cut in half. I've lost a lot of small pots, and the blinds are coming around more frequently than I'd like, bringing me down to 10 big blinds while I'm once again in the big blind. I've got the second shortest stack remaining with the chip leader on my right. It's none other than Jason Kuhn. It folds to him in the small blind. He knows that I have to play an extraordinarily tight range consisting of only a few combinations because getting knocked out at this stage would be expensive and painful. Unsurprisingly, Jason rips it, which he could reasonably do with any 2 cards knowing that I'll have to fold at a very high frequency due to ICM implications. We look down at one card. It's a good one. The second card matches it. We've got pocket aces on the stone bubble of a 50k high roller against the baddest fucking dude in poker. I snap call out of habit before wondering if maybe this is the first time in my life I should have considered folding aces pre-flop, knowing I can likely win $108,000 or more by not playing a hand or risking any additional chips for the next few orbits. It's too late. We're all in and at risk. The media outlets circle around as Jason Kuhn reveals that he has 5 deuce suited. We reveal the best hand in poker. I couldn't be more stressed as play is stopped with the all-in and call. Everyone from the other table gathers around to see the action. Bonomo, Seth Davies, Ike Haxton, Ren Lin, and Alex Foxen have gotten up from their seats to see the outcome. All the guys I've watched, admired, and rooted for years are now watching me. And they're anti-sweating hard. Well, almost all of them are. While I'm trying not to faint, I overhear Jason say, I'm actually kind of hoping that Brad wins this one. Jason knows how much it'd mean to me to stay alive while I'm shot taking. He came over to our table to tell me nice job for making it so far when there were 17 left yesterday. Now Jason could end our run in the most soul-crushing way I can imagine. We're either going to double up or take by far the sickest beat of my life. My heart's beating 1,000,000 times per minute. It's almost on pace with how many words per minute escape Cabril's mouth.
Great call, Brett.
The flop comes King Jack 7 with 2 spades. That's about as good a flop as we can get without us improving. Jason has no pair or backdoor draw. We can seal a double up without any drama on a ton of turns. I certainly prefer to shut the door on this as soon as possible.
No sweat. No sweat. Nice answer.
Thanks.
We get about the cleanest run out of all time in order to get a double up, propelling us from life support back to the middle of the pack. There aren't many hands in my life more significant than this one. They say that you should never meet your heroes because they'll often disappoint you. Well, we met a ton of them in this tournament, and instead left them disappointed as they're sent back to the other table without making the money just yet. Jason obviously would have rather won the pot, but it's only a small dent in his stack. He takes the loss like the consummate pro that he is.
Nice number.
Thanks.
You should say thank you that I folded button. You know?
Did
You should say thank you.
you.
Brett, you are supposed to say thank you. No? Okay, not good.
Normally, I can't help but laugh at some of Cabril's in-game commentary, but right now I've got too much adrenaline going, and there's too much at stake to lose focus for even a second. We won a big pot, but we're still only one mistake or cooler away from getting knocked out. The short stacks just aren't dying. We've been playing 10-handed for 40 minutes when Bao Ding jams with the fewest chips in the tournament. Cabril calls, the player at risk has ace-queen offsuit against king-jack suited, the short stack flops top pair as Cabril flops a gut shot for Broadway. The turn is a blank, the river gives the player at risk the 4th double up in a row to delay the bubble bursting once more. The next hand dealt, Foxton's eliminated at the other table after getting it in good with pocket nines against Ren Lin's queen 4 offsuit. Lin drills the river queen to send Alex home on the stone bubble. I can't believe it. I've never played a more stressful 2 hours of poker. We made it down to the final 9. We're doing a seat draw to combine for the unofficial final table. The official final table is when it gets down to 8-handed, but what's most important at the moment is the fact that
We're in the money.
here's a look at the payouts. We've secured the 3rd 6-figure score of the year and 2nd in the last few weeks. If we can make one pay jump, we'll eclipse my previous biggest score by an incredible $494. But my mind is focused on winning a lot more than that. $1 million payout has never been so possible. We're coming into the final 9 with 21 big blinds. We've got a middling stack with 3 stacks shorter than us and one other one barely ahead of us, while 4 players have substantially more. One question that Cabril has regularly been asking as a joke throughout the event is,
The Jack 8 helps too.
as I look around at who I'm at the table with and think about how much we're playing for, with how much cash we've already got locked up, I'm not totally sure that it is. As recently as a year or two ago, I couldn't have ever dreamed that I'd be in this situation. I feel like I've made the 17-year-old me really proud. I've even made the 35-year-old me pretty proud. But I can't get too sentimental. The first goal of the day has been accomplished. It's time to climb the ladder. The very first hand to 9-handed play, Bonomo gets knocked out by Jason. We make the official final table, a pay jump, and secure our biggest tournament score of all time. We've now got over $125,000 locked up, and there are still 2 stacks shorter than ours. Level 18 begins, and now there's only 1 stack shorter than ours. We've got to get things moving in the right direction if we want to compete for the title. As the newcomer to the high roller field, I feel like I might be able to get away with some one-time tricks and plays that the more seasoned opponents won't expect for me to have up my sleeve. For example, they may correctly assume that this is a lot of money for me, so it'd be important for me to ladder up, and presumably I'll play more snug than perhaps I should be. They might give me lots of credit when I make big bets or go all in. These guys are certainly more knowledgeable and play fundamentally sounder, but I can still whip up something that they won't expect to try to stay one step ahead. We play 2 big hands back to back. In the first one, Seth Davies min raises to $120,000. I defend the big blind with a short stack. The flop comes King Jack 5 with 2 hearts. I check call a small bet with a hand that I won't reveal just yet. The turn pairs the jack. I'll have a lot of combos containing a jack that I'll play this way. Davies won't have that many that'll open from middle position with big stacks still behind him. I lead jam to represent trips, putting our tournament life on the line. Davies looks annoyed as he folds without hesitation. I show the table that I risked it all with nothing but 10 high and a gut shot straight draw. I felt that I had to make a move and that the opponent would give me more credit than he should. Davies would later tell me privately that he folded a pair of kings and that it was a sick bluff. If he had called, we likely would have gotten knocked out. I was fortunate to get away with one, but making plays that the opponents won't expect is pretty much the only way that I'll be able to win, because if I try to play their game and attempt to try to out GTO them, they're going to do a better job of that because they're far more studied, and I'll inevitably lose. The very next hand we see a flop blind versus blind against Cabral. It comes Queen 8-3, which isn't bad for our small blind limp range. I bet 60,000 to get folds out of a variety of hands that Cabral saw a free flop with. Instead he calls. The turn is the 9 of hearts. I continue firing again, this time for a little more to increase the pressure. Cabral folds, probably thinking that there's no way I'd bluff in back-to-back hands after just showing the bluff shove. And that's pretty much exactly why I did it with King 10 of spades in this hand. We get 2 bluffs through in a row. The title of this update says that I show the goods during my climb, but that's a bit misleading because I didn't even have a pair in either hand. All we had were damaged goods. We increased the stack to over 1.3 million. It's over 20 big blinds. Before I entered the tournament, I was wondering if I'd be competitive at all against this group. Sure, I've gotten lucky at different points, and I've done some things that I might only be able to get away with once, but now I'm wondering if I'll be able to win $1 million. The mindset has completely shifted as we made it deep into the event. Next, we're dealt pocket tens in the big blind with blinds at 40,000 to 80,000. The player with the shortest stack at the table jams for 525,000 from the hijack. It's only for 6.5 big blinds. I make the easy call to close the action and potentially bust the opponent. The hijack disappointingly has us notched with the jiggities. It was a slam dunk situation that turns out to be a cooler. We haven't made a set all tournament though. Now would be a good time to drill one. The flop comes King 8-7 with 2 spades. Neither of us improve or even have a spade in our hand. We at least have a backdoor straight draw. The turn is the 9 of hearts, giving us an open-ender. It's the best card in the deck that doesn't give us the lead. We at least pick up 6 outs. Please don't give us the set anymore. Let the opponent have one. He seems like a good guy. The river is the ace of clubs. We don't improve and lose about 40% of our stack.
That's it.
Oh, no GG. Nobody busted, everybody happy.
How much?
525.
That's a tough loss. The opponent could have showed up with all kinds of worse hands, but instead, he was at the top of his range, bringing us down to just 9 big blinds. There's no time to dwell. The very next hand, we're dealt ace-jack offsuit in the small blind. Ike Haxton is now the smallest stack at the table with 525,000. We're not too far behind. Ike open rips it from the button. I'm not too concerned about a late position jam from an opponent who desperately needs to win a pot. I rejam for 745,000 to isolate Ike. Cabral's in the big blind, and he's not immediately folding after seeing 2 all-ins ahead of him. He has the opportunity to bust out 2 players while only risking about 8 more big blinds. This is a big sweat.
I call and bust you, I will be famous, right? I play super tight. Super tight. Wow. Ike! No GRO today, yeah?
We get it in good against 9-8 of clubs. We can feel okay about that, but we still only have less than 60% equity. We need to win this, or we'll have less than 3 big blinds. The flop comes ace-7-3 with 2 diamonds. We've got top pair and a backdoor flush draw, while Ike has nothing except a slim chance of staying alive beyond the turn.
Okay. GG, Ike.
The turn gives Ike some hope as he picks up the gut shot straight draw. Losing to runner straight would be too brutal. The poker gods wouldn't do that to us, would they? We have Ike beat the whole way and hold to bust him out in 8th place. It's a wild 2-hand sequence that ultimately leaves us with a few $100,000 more than we had before we lost to the jiggities. Ike's a legend, so it's cool to knock him out while essentially doubling up and making the $27,000 pay jump to be guaranteed $152,000. Cabral loses a big pot to Davies, and then he continues to lose a little more before dipping to slightly below our chip count. We're sitting in 4th with 7 left as we look down at pocket 10s in the small blind. Renlin raises to $175,000 from the cutoff. Jason just calls on the button. The action so far doesn't indicate a ton of strength. Even though there are a few stacks shorter than ours, this is way too good of a spot to pass on with a premium. I 3-bet jam for 15.5 big blinds. Again, Cabral is up to his usual theatrics, going into the tank with intentions of likely folding, or maybe not.
I'm all in as well, just to make it easy for Mr. Brett.
Seems pretty easy for you.
Now I will be famous if I bust you, correct?
Yeah.
That's awesome. But I don't like to be famous, right? Mr. Anthony! Mr. Anthony!
We're all in against pocket kings. again, somehow having the same pair at the final table and being in terrible shape. Have I mentioned that I haven't made a set all tournament yet? The deck doesn't care. The flop comes ace jack 6 with 2 hearts. Our backdoor heart draw is no good though. We'll need a 10 or run a runner straight. The turn is the queen of spades. We pick up the straight draw, but we only have 2 outs. It'll take a miracle. I've done it before though. The river is the queen of clubs. It looked like a king for a second, but we get coolered again with 10s.
GG, bro.
Cabral takes 90% of our stack to get the double up, but we're not quite out of it. We had him barely covered, so we still have 1.5 big blinds. Whenever I'm down to almost nothing, I try to remember this one time when I came back from a single big blind and continuously won pot after pot to get my first ever WSOP cash, and I ultimately bagged a large stack to take with me into day 3. It took quite a bit of magic for that to happen, but when I think about that event, it keeps me from ever giving up just because I'm short. I've witnessed unbelievable comebacks firsthand. If I can even stick around a little longer, that might be all it takes to make a $40,000 pay jump to $192,000. I hang on as long as I can before shoving blind onto the gun because I can actually quadruple up this way if I get it in against someone who's not in the blinds. The hijack rejams for $405,000. It's only 5 big blinds total. I was hoping that he was going to shove at some point in the previous few hands so that we'd have an opportunity to ladder up. Instead, we're at risk against him with a hand that we'll all be seeing for the first time together.
Not bad.
Pretty good hand.
Yeah.
The opponent has pocket 10s. Regardless of what I've got, someone keeps showing up with an overpair. We're not in great shape. I feel pretty good about this though. The flop comes 7-6-3 with 2 diamonds and a heart. We've got top pair and some solid backdoor draws. We formed an alliance on our side of the table with Jason Kuhn and Cabral to keep our tournament run alive.
Here we go. Do that, Brett. Just do that.
The turn is the 10 of hearts, which is an interesting card. At first, it doesn't seem great because the opponent drills a set, but we pick up 10 new outs. We can hit any heart other than the 7 or 3, and we picked up the gut shot straight draw. The 9 of hearts gives us a straight flush. Come on, one time. The river is the 8 of spades, giving us 2 pair when we don't want it. If the turn wasn't a 10, we would have quadrupled up. Instead, the run is over.
I saw that on this table. Oh, no?
Thanks, guys.
7s and 8s.
GG.
I get knocked out in 7th place, not running particularly well at the final table. It was still perhaps the coolest poker experience of my life. Yeah, the pay jumps were getting massive as we were approaching higher and higher 6-figure payouts, but wow, was this an awesome experience and my first time ever playing a super high roller against world-class caliber opponents. I had so much fun purposely pausing to occasionally soak in some of the moments. I had quite a few questions going into the tournament, mostly regarding if I actually have what it takes to compete on the same level as those guys. Over the last 2 days, I got a lot of the answers I was looking for en route to my biggest tournament score. The only question that I have remaining is, will I ever win a major title? Only time will tell, but I'd bet a lot of money on it. The run is over. I thought for a little while I might have had a chance to maybe get a big 6-figure score or perhaps even $1 million. So I had some dreams there at the end of playing for 7 figures, but you know, ran into pocket kings again. That's probably the last event for me of the series, and just an unbelievable couple days, man. To play with those guys and to be able to just even make it to like the dinner break was pretty awesome, and see what they were doing and then make it to day 2. It was stressful around the money bubble, but then got some bluffs through actually. While I've been sitting out in this hall, Seth Davies just walked up to me. He's still in the event and he's got a big stack, and he's like, that was a sick bluff. You got me to lay down a king when I had that 10-9 offsuit. So just really cool to play with those guys. Haven't spent a lot of time with them, and man, I just cashed a 50K, 5 times bigger buy-in than anyone that I've ever played before. The big title will once again have to wait, but really happy overall. That's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe buttons. Helps out the channel a ton. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know in the comment section. I'm happy to get back to you. This concludes the WPT World Championship Festival. I just had an awesome month of December. I profited personally $200,000. I had 78% of myself in this 50K. And I had 100% of myself in all the other tournaments. I went 3 for 4 in my 10K bullets or bigger, so that was super fortunate. I went 4 for 10 in my bullets overall for the World Championship Festival, and just the most exciting month that I've ever had. And that's why it took a long time to kind of get all those videos out, because I just played so much poker and really focused on playing rather than kind of getting the videos out quickly, which you're now seeing, but hope you still enjoyed them. A couple things I want to talk about really quickly. Right now is the best time to sign up to WPT Global, especially if you're an MTT player. Not only are there deposit match bonuses, but for almost the entire month of April, 100% of the buy-ins for MTTs are going towards the prize pool. So WPT Global won't be taking any rake during that time from MTTs, which is almost unheard of. So take advantage of that. Use the bonus code BRAD when you sign up. That way you get that deposit match bonus and more. I have more information in the description box below. Also, a couple of meetup games coming up. The first one is going to be April 18th at the Seminole Hard Rock in Hollywood, Florida. I'll be there for about 5 days or so. I'll be playing that WPT championship event out there. So if you see me around, come say hi, grab a photo if you're interested. And then from there, I'm going out to the Lodge to kick off the Lodge Championship Series. We're doing a meetup game. It's a special low limit 1-2 game with me, Andrew, Mariano, and some other special guests. So that one's gonna be a lot of fun. And then I'm gonna be in Austin for 10 days. So even if you can't make the meetup game, come down for the Lodge Championship Series. There's buy-ins of all different amounts, and it should be a blast. It's my favorite time to be in Austin just because there's so much excitement in the air, big prize pools, and a lot of big names in poker come out for that. All right, guys, hope you're all doing well. Hope you're staying safe. Good luck at the tables, and I'll see you next time.